New month. Let's stay in tune in June. So I'm going to start off with the Dixie that was unable to break down when I was with you on Friday. So you could look at it two ways. I wish it had broken down to continue to add pips to my short position in the dollar, or you could say perhaps there's another selling opportunity that may develop, especially with all the numbers that we have this week. We have Bank of Canada, we have ECB, we have other economic reports, and the Granddaddy report on Friday is going to be very important, especially if we get a stronger number. So, when I was talking to Friday, you need closes under these technical areas, not just pins underneath it. So again, closes under looks like 104.5 now is going to give you a break of trend. The significance of this uptrend, you have to look at the daily because it's been in force since the beginning of the year, before the end of last year, the end of last year. So here are your hits. Here's your trend. I can't rule out with some action, maybe a strong NFP number that we could not get another push up towards resistance, and the resistance last week was right around here, 520. So if we don't break down, so it's your choice whether you want to stay with it or not. I would welcome it, a rally back towards, say, 105.5. This could be drive one, drive two. So see what happens up here. Maybe we just have to have a stop hunt above the highs of last week to shake out the bears that have been short since this 105 breakdown. A couple of tests here. One more push up would do it. So looking at 550 to 570, that's up here. And then you're wrong over the 640 double top. Here's a couple of areas that you may want to write down that I'm going to be concentrating on for buying dollar strength. I'd look at buying dollar strength in euro, maybe around the 107.60 to 50 range. In cable, which if you look at a real short time frame, you might have a right shoulder developing that could take it back down towards 126-ish is where I would be a buyer if news-driven dollar strength takes it there. Same with Aussie. I'd be looking at maybe about the 65.35 level. Pull up some dailies. There's a lot of support down there. I haven't done the fibs, but 200-day would be 65.26. So that's an area I'd be looking to buy Aussie. None of these look possible right now. In fact, it looks like the dollar's just going to keep falling. But we'll see what happens with ECB, BOC. So let's look at Canada, and this is a real important point that I'm going to make here. This is the U.S. This is the same. The Canadian dollar is under this uptrend. Tried to rally again today, but want to see what happens if the market doesn't get what it wants. But just like the Dow, you have a uptrend that could be violated in the Dixie for a position. Under 136 is going to be a big signal. So if you don't get anything sold off on a rally, maybe back towards 680, you're wrong over, say, about 7.5 on this. But this could be a big trade. So I'll sell rips and I'll add on breakdowns. If I don't get a rip, I'm short under 136. And this is the importance of 136. You can see it's a descending triangle on the 4-hour. But if you look at the weekly, we have over a year and a half of distribution taking place here. Okay, so I can't consider this a continuation formation unless it breaks out over 138. And then you're talking about a retest of these highs on the monthly, which is not my scenario right now would be test back up towards these, 147 level, and here it was 47. But to me, it looks like impulsive, and all we've been doing is moving, have corrected this decline, and we're about to roll over. So the point of this being, here's this 132 level. 131. But if you break down under 136, which is going to give you this is a weekly, it's going to give you targets around 33.5. But again, the major support is going to be down here at 32.5. Take 32.5 out, you're talking about 125 or lower. So to me, this is a massive distribution top that I want to be part of this decline, either on a rip or on a breakdown or both. Taking a look at gold, I've been talking about 22.5. Is the gold going to make me uh, look silly by rallying to new highs first? I really don't think so. You know, we've had some consolidation. 2250 could be achieved in a week or two. So I'll take a look at that. Silver pullbacks at 29 should be supportive, where we could get a bounce. And who knows what kind of bounce? Maybe we'll get ABC, a new high, and then a pullback. So still think 27.5 sometime this summer is doable in the silver. Want to talk about what the market did last Friday, really squeezed people. Last week I talked about that I thought the S&Ps had another high in it towards the 55, 56 level. This keeps it alive. But one thing you know now, that back under, I was saying 5180, you have a problem. And, you know, you have some moving averages there. So we'll see if we could generate enough upside here for new highs. We've already diverged on the daily. We've really diverged on the weekly. Look at this. That's what has some bears worried, is the high at the end of last year in April of 20, right here this week in March, and then we had this April pullback, and then new highs have not been confirmed by the weekly. So we'll see what happens here shorter term. I'm thinking that maybe we have another 4 weeks left in the market. Maybe we go into July with the 55 to 5600 level being achieved. As far as yields are concerned, that was a pretty accurate forecast, or let me say a very accurate forecast on the 10-year. I talked about how we failed from 78.6 back here. We've had a pretty good pullback. I think if you have strong numbers, you have to fade a bump in rates, which means buy the notes, because this is 10-year, buy the notes on a pullback. TLT, I showed the wedge line last week. Look at how it came off, almost a perfect kiss. And now we're threatening some moving averages at 91. You cannot be long back under last week's lows, because that's going to trigger the alternate scenario, and much lower 86 and maybe 80. If that happens, I still favor the upside in TLT and would be looking to buy pullbacks if we had a strong NFP number or any action by the ECB causing rates to bump. There still are some numbers that could do it, but this is a very important low for us to get a bullish move, even though this could just be one bear market rally from where we were. I mean, you have to look at the weekly, maybe even the monthly, to see where we were. But, you know, if we're not going to hold here and break out and we start to fail, we're going back towards 80. So very key. Nothing wrong taking profits in front of these numbers if you bought TLT in the upper 88s, low 89s. But it's really going to take closes back over this moving average. About 92, I think, would be convincing on a closing basis. And I believe that's everything I want to cover for now. So looking to buy the dollar, um, fade the dollar. Looking for pullbacks of about 100 pips from here in euro, and 100 or so in cable, and 100 or so in Aussie, And perhaps if we get that bounce, perhaps we get one more push in the yen. It's looking a little iffy, but if we get a dollar rally up towards 105.5, 100-point rally in Dixie, maybe this provides a selling opportunity above 158, because I am looking for lower yields in the 10-year. I think we'll be trading under 4% sometime this summer. So that's the way I'm looking at this week. I'll be with you all 3 days. I'll be here Monday. I'll be here Wednesday for my streams and Friday. So you'll have an update going into the weekend. And I'll be with Mike on Tuesday and Thursday. And if you don't recognize the Hope, uh, one of my buddies who's in the Bitcoin business in the O is Bitcoin. And I hope that they're trading this stuff on more than hope. Hope is the oxygen that we need in life, and it's a carbon monoxide in trading. So here's Bitcoin having a pretty big day. Looks like we could head for new highs along with the S&Ps here. So liquidity is there. Let's see what happens. I turned bearish here last week, and we got a little bit of downside, but I'm not fighting it now. Flat Friday. Looks like we're going to new highs. And you look at the wheat, it's acting okay. You got to start looking to buy pullbacks in the beans and the corn. I heard that OJ has been tearing it up. So if I'm right about a weaker dollar down the road, most commodity markets are going to benefit from that, let alone the weather that's creating havoc in the OJ crop and other crops out there. So remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. You have a plan and many instruments right now. So I'll be back with you Wednesday. And don't forget, don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and try and get a Canadian trade on, because I think it's going to fall apart when the dollar begins to weaken. And that's a wrap for me. Good hunting, everyone. See you tomorrow at 11 a.m. EST with Mike and me. Adios.